All right. Would you welcome to the platform Chairwoman of your Santa Ana Chamber of Commerce, Paula Garcia Arsenault.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. It's wonderful to see all my friends. Good morning and welcome to the annual State of the City breakfast with our mayor, Honorable Miguel Pulido. I am Paula Garcia Arsenault, chairwoman of your fabulous Santa Ana Chamber of Commerce and director of Family Services for Habitat of Humanity Orange County. Would you all please stand as the colors are presented by the Santa Ana Police Department Honor Guard, led by Corporal Nelson, and please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Joshua Salgado, Eagle Scout of the Santa Ana Boy Scout Troop 220. The singing of our national anthem by Dalmas Rubio and Jasmine Alvarenga from Santa Ana High School, and the invocation led by Pastor David Mitchell from Santa Ana Calvary Church. We ask that we all remain standing until the Honor Guard has left the room.
Please put your right hand over your heart. And please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
See by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, and the home of the
That was beautiful. Thank you. As pastor of Calvary Church has been part of the Santa Ana community proudly for 86 years. And so it's a joy to invite God to our community and to this event today. Let me pray. Father God, we thank you that you're a God of this world, that God, there is no one you do not love, and you have a love and compassion for this entire community here in Santa Ana. God, we're thankful for all the wonderful things that are developing and growing and thriving here in our city. God, we know that there are needs that are still out there as well. Lord, help us, strengthen us, and guide us in ways that we can help address the needs and those who are needy. And that, God, that we would be a community that bands together, have a common cause of improving and strengthening, as well as enjoying and the privilege of serving together in those areas that are thriving. God, we invite you into this moment. We invite you into our city. And that you are a God who has told us that there is one thing that is most important to you, that we would know you and that we would understand you. And that you are the God of loving kindness, justice, and righteousness. And in these things you delight. God, I pray that you would delight over our community that is filled with your loving kindness, justice, and righteousness. And for this morning, God, we pray your blessing upon all that takes place, for the food that we eat, for the time that we spend together with one another, and Father, for the message that we will hear. And Father, we look to you for all these things in humility. And I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. You can be seated.
We now ask you to enjoy your breakfast, enjoy your conversation, and we will start the program in a few minutes. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start. And those of you that are standing over at the coffee bar, just stay there. All right, if I can have a quiet, please. They're still serving breakfast, but this is a working breakfast. You thought this was just going to be fun and games, but it's not. This is a working breakfast. So please find your seats. You can do some networking afterwards to try to get you out of here by 11:30 or 12, so you can do some networking then. So Ms. Murray, have a seat. All of you have a seat, please. And they'll make sure that you get breakfast. If you don't get breakfast, just stay here. We'll get you lunch. Okay? All right, let's get started here. Good morning. I'm Dave Elliott, the President and CEO of your Santa Ana Chamber of Commerce, and it's our privilege to co-sponsor this event this morning with the city of Santa Ana and our phenomenal mayor, Miguel Pulido. So we welcome all of you for being here today. And for right now, do this for me, a one-hand clap for all of you to be here today. Ready? 1, 2, 3, clap. Very good. Now, you've all applauded yourselves for being here, so we don't have to do that later on, okay? So would you thank Lucas Canero, who has been providing all the guitar background music today? Where's Lucas at? Phenomenal job. Phenomenal job. Also, would you thank the Bowers? I think we've been here about 5 or 6 years in a row, and Peter Keller and Angie. Where are you guys at? Right over here, Peter. Thank you guys so much for hosting this today, the Bowers Museum. So this next part, I've told Miguel, this is the hardest part of the morning coming up. Seriously, it's the hardest part. I have to recognize all these people. Okay? And all of you are important, okay? But these are important people too. So bear with me as we're going to recognize some of our outstanding public service leaders here in Santa Ana, around Santa Ana as well. But this is how we're going to do it. I'm going to read a name, and I want them to stand. I want you to remain standing. No applause. No applause. Okay? Then on cue, we will all applaud all of them at once with a one-hand clap. Okay? We're good with that? Now, if I don't mention your name and you're an elected official, it's not because we don't want you reelected. Okay? That's not why we do that. It's just because we missed you somehow. So we'll ask at the end if we miss somebody, if you'll stand up and join, okay? So from our own city council, Jose Solario, Stand up, Jose. Remain standing. Thank you. All right. Juan Villegas. Where's Juan? Right here. Thank you. And Michelle Martinez. Is Michelle here? Michelle, thank you. Remain standing. Okay. From our state senate, Janet Nguyen. Where's Senator Nguyen? I saw her earlier. Right here. Great. Remain standing. This person said not to mention his name, but from our County of Orange OC Supervisor, Todd Spitzer. Where's Todd at? Todd never wants to stand up. That's $50, buddy, for that plug. 50. Oh, that's right. You can't pay that. All right, good. From our cities, from Tustin, the mayor of Tustin, Alan Bernstein. Where's Alan? I saw him earlier. Okay. He had to go. Okay. And then from our mayor from Huntington Beach, an OCTA board member, Barbara Doglese. Where's Barbara at? Thank you. And then from the OCTA board, Mike Hennessy. Okay, and then Mayor of City of Garden Grove and OCTA member Steve Jones. Who did that? Michelle. You're not following the rules. You're not following the rules, okay? Council member from the City of Anaheim, Chris Murray. Chris, I remember when with OCBC, great. And then our mayor from Anaheim and OCTA member Tom Tate. Beautiful. And then Mayor Pro Tem, City of Salah Habra, and OCTA board member Tim Shaw. Beautiful. And then from our Rancho San Diego Community College Board of Trustees, Claudia Alvarez, trustee. Zeke Hernandez, trustee. I saw you here. Larry Labrado, I saw here, trustee. And Naleda Mendoza, trustee. Okay, they're here. Okay, good. We're all standing. And then from our Santa Ana Unified School Board of Education, Valerie Amezcua. Valerie here, okay. And then representing Assemblyman Tom Daly, Avellino. Where's GQ man? Avellino. Avellino here. That is GQ. Tell you what. That's $100 for you, buddy. From representing Congressman Lou Correa, Claudio Gallegos. Where's Claudio at? Okay, thank you. And then representing Supervisor Lisa Bartlett, Paul Walters. Where's Paul at? I saw him earlier. All right, ready? On three, one hand clap. Okay, wait a minute. Did I miss any electeds? If you did, please stand. Any of you want to run for an elected position? Okay, okay, great. 1, 2, 3, and we do clap. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. You may be seated. All right, good job. And seriously, thank you for your public service for us. So, moving on. Our State of the City breakfast, this is the 20th year, and I believe it's the 20th year with Mayor Polito as well. And I've been here for a number of those myself, and it's a great honor for us to participate with this great breakfast event. But it's important to note that an event like this doesn't happen without tremendous group of sponsors. So I'd like to recognize our sponsors. They're listed on the backside of your program as well, but I'm going to single out a couple others. This year we're excited and proud to have KPC Health as our presenting sponsor. I would like to ask the CEO of KPC Health, Suzanne Richards, who's also one of our board members, to come forward and share a couple of comments. So Suzanne, where are you at? Come on up here. You got to run, Suzanne. Would you welcome Suzanne, please?
Thank you, Dave. I want to thank our mayor, Mayor Polito, and the entire Santa Ana City Council and the Santa Ana Chamber of Commerce for the opportunity to be part of this absolutely wonderful event. Just a little bit about KPC Health. That name probably isn't familiar to you. We are 7 hospitals in Southern California, but the 2 that you should know are the 2 acute care hospitals you have in the city of Santa Ana. The first one is South Coast Global Medical Center. It is a nice community hospital. It has, of course, acute care services, a geropsych. We want to take care of our psychiatric population, especially our older psychiatric population. It has an OB department and a subacute department. The other one that you probably know is actually the first hospital in Orange County. It is the oldest hospital in Orange County because it was first. It is over 100 years old. Used to be called Westmed Santa Ana. Now it is called Orange County Global Medical Center. Now what's important about this hospital is we have services you probably, we hope, have never used. Everybody knows about the trauma center, but we are one of 5 hospitals in Southern California that does replant. So if someone you know cuts off their hand, we actually can plant it back onto their body. So a lot of people are amazed that that type of service is there. We do, everybody's laughing. They need to call for an appointment. No appointment necessary. But we are the one of 2 level 2 trauma centers in Orange County. We are a burn center. We are a high acuity OB. And the last program I want to tell everybody about, a lot of us have children, nieces, nephews, etc., that would like to get into healthcare. We are the 2 MEP programs in Orange County. With the help of ROP, we started a Medical Explorer program. People are familiar with the police and the fire explorers, but we take high schoolers and we teach them all the different fields of healthcare because there is a shortage. We are all getting older, and we want to make sure that there's plenty of healthcare workers for us when we need those healthcare workers. So I want to thank you. And it's an absolute honor to be a sponsor for this, this event. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. They're a great new partner with us here in Santa Ana with the 2 hospitals, and Suzanne coming on our board, and we really appreciate KPC Health. We have 2 outstanding organizations that event sponsors this year, and that is Wells Fargo. Where's Wells Fargo at with Keith? Keith Cabada. Where's Wells? Right here. Keith's not here, but Wells, thank you very much as an event sponsor. And Main Place Mall with Jonathan. Is Jonathan here? Main Place Mall. Where's Main Place at? Right over here? Okay. Tell Jonathan we said hi, okay? Thank you guys for doing that. And then we have several corporate sponsors. I want to recognize Arnell and Affiliates, AT&T, Caribou Industries, Crevier Classic Cars, and Vanguard University as our corporate sponsors. We thank you guys for that investment into this project. And then there is a ton of we call table sponsors and our nonprofits, and they're listed on your program on the back side. You'll see a list there, a long list of folks there. And then I just want to recognize we have 2 organizations within the chamber that are there. We have our event champions. So they're listed there, our event champions that support all our events throughout the year. On the back side there were the sponsors, and then we have our President's Circle, and these are organizations that support your Chamber of Commerce above and beyond sponsorships, that kind of thing. So I want to recognize those folks as well. And finally, well, not finally, one other thing. Would you just a one clap for our outstanding committee that puts this together. They're all over the place, but if you're a committee member for the state of the city, would you stand? Do I have, they're probably out and running around. Well, one clap for all those folks. We ready? 1, 2, 3, clap. Okay, good. Tell you what, it's tough. It's tough. I get paid a lot of money doing it. I tell you this, this is why, you know. Okay, so finally, before I make the last couple remarks, and then Miguel's going to be coming and stuff and share some thoughts with us. I want to recognize our outstanding board of directors. You saw and met Paula earlier, but we have an outstanding board of directors. When they're all there, we have 41 board members representing all kinds of businesses across the spectrum of business here in Santa Ana. I'd like our board members for the Santa Ana Chamber of Commerce to just please stand. So if you're a board member, please stand. Great, including our newest board member, Sandy Jones from UC Irvine. So thank you guys, appreciate it. Multiple claps, multiple claps. All right, in closing, it is our privilege as your Chamber of Commerce to serve you, the business community, as a resource, connector, and advocate for a thriving business community here in Santa Ana and the surrounding region. Our focus is on 3 things: business and economic development, legislative advocacy, and community involvement. In each of those areas, we have a council that works in each of those areas on a regular basis to move the our whole message forward of Santa Ana is a great place to have a business and do business and to live and work and play. If you're not involved with us as members, please consider, we have a table out there, some information. Please consider joining us. Continue to help build a positive business community here. We do have 2 events coming up I want to mention. There's some information on your table. The first one is our Vision Makers. There's a little brochure, a little flyer on your table. Our Vision Makers series is a 4-part breakfast series. Our next one is on Friday, August 25th at Morton's. Yes, Morton's opens breakfast for the chamber, okay? So it'll be at Morton's, and the Honorable Congressman Lou Correa will be our guest, and we have a phenomenal moderator in Jenna Jensen. Where's Jenna at? Jenna, stand up, okay? She's our moderator, does a great job in doing that, so come out on the 25th and join us. The other event I want to mention is the 2nd annual Taste of Santa Ana at Main Place. There's a flyer on your table about coming to that on Saturday, the 30th of September. Great event. There's also a brochure, I think 1 or 2 at a table. If you're interested in being a sponsor for that event, take a look at that and go from there. Miguel, it's yours, Bubba. Come on up. Would you welcome our outstanding mayor, Miguel Pulido?
Thank you, Dave. In a few minutes, the gentleman that's going to introduce me is going to arrive. He's late. So when he arrives, I want you to pretend like it's all normal. I'm going to sit down, he's going to come up, he's going to say a few words, and then I'm going to continue with a speech. But given that, I'm going to go ahead and start the speech for right now, and then I'll interrupt when he arrives. And I'll let you know who it is when he arrives, so you'll be wondering who could it be. William Spurgeon many years ago came here from Kentucky on horseback, and there was nothing but a very high mustard seed here at the time, and they couldn't see anything. So he climbed up a sycamore tree, and he looked around the area, and he decided he was going to buy about 70 acres and start the city of Santa Ana. So he bought between Broadway, which used to be called West Street, and then First Street, 7th Street, and Spurgeon. And so that's why we've got Spurgeon. West Street became Broadway. Sycamore became Sycamore, which is where the sycamore tree was that he climbed, because there was no other way to look at what's going on. Now we've got the internet, we've got people, it's a different world, but you always have to deal with the cards that you're dealt, and you have to do the best you can with what you can. And so when he started, it was just those 70 acres or so that he purchased. And today, we're all blessed. All of us, everyone here in this room is blessed because we live in a beautiful county. We have a beautiful city in the city of Santa Ana, and we're all working together. We're working together to, no, it's not Reuben Smith. Reuben Smith's arriving, but he's not the guy that's going to introduce me. So we all work together. We all work together, and I think we're making a huge difference. In particular, I want to thank my fellow city council members that do all so much. We always deal with things. We usually agree, but when we don't, we're not disagreeable, and that's a big deal. We're always working on behalf of the city. And as we're doing that, I think we're making a big difference. I also want to thank fellow board members from OCTA. I'll talk about our streetcar project in a minute. And Tom, thank you for a soft no on that. I know we disagree on that one, but Tom is the city of kindness. So even when he votes no, he does it in a kind manner. And he's a great guy and a good friend, and I very much appreciate him being here. Let me just say a few things about some of the things that are going on here in the city. Our businesses are up. We have now over 30,000 businesses in the city. To be exact, it's 30,593 businesses. And through Michelle Martinez's efforts and SCAG, we're going to be working to basically analyze all 30,000 businesses and try to figure out how can we make them more efficient. Is there anything that we're not doing that we should be doing? And by the way, any of our other cities that are here, because I know we have several other cities here, we should all help each other. And if there's a better way, to build a mousetrap, that's what we ought to be doing. So that's something that's coming up in our very near future. I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that are going on in the Auto Mall, for example. I know we've got, the Penske Group here and Crevier and all that. I'm telling you, they're doing awesome. The Penske Group and Roger Penske has fallen in love with Santa Ana, which is a great thing for us. He's at the Auto Mall on a regular basis, and they're just trying to figure out how to bring in more dealerships and how to increase sales and what to do, and it's making a huge difference. And talking about a huge difference, I know earlier we're trying to figure out where was Main Place, and I think they're here in the room, but I'll tell you, I was recently meeting with Main Place, and they're planning big things, and they have to because all of retail is changing. The internet is changing this world very quickly, and so they're looking at, how do we reinvent the mall to keep it viable, to keep it exciting, to keep people coming. So far, I'll tell you, they're doing a pretty good job because every time I go there, all the parking lots full, but you have to keep going. And as I'm going here looking at the map and different things going on in the city, one of them is the Register site. I don't know if you're familiar, but Tom, the Register is now in Anaheim, but it's a smaller Register. And however, the Register building and the site is still there. And sometimes you have to be Pollyannish about things. You just have to believe that you can do them, and then you go, and sometimes they don't work out, but sometimes they do. The same way I talked earlier about William Spurgeon, we've got a guy here in town that just goes for things. His name is Mike Heron. Is sitting over there at the Caribou table, and I'm telling you, people ask me like, what's he doing? He's got like a bunch of dirt over there on Broadway, and he keeps moving it around, and then he's digging. But is he really digging? I'll tell you, he really is digging. He's got some very deep, I think about 80 or so, deep pylons. He's got a different name for them, but, because he's a contractor and a construction guy and an architect and a bunch of other things. But anyways, he tells me that he's under construction, that he'll have the foundation done in December, that he's put the money together to build the entire project, and that 2 years from now, the skyscraper will be up in the air. So we'll continue to progress. But earlier I mentioned the Register, and that's because Mike's also bought about 40 acres over there by the Register, and he's coming in October with a huge project for us to look at, which is going to be a series of commercial office space, a reuse of the existing Register building, and then a residential campus around the perimeter. And so all these different things are coming together. And talking about coming together, when I was meeting with the Main Place folks recently, guess what happened? I'm coming out of the building, they flew in from, back east or whatever to talk about what they're doing, and I come walking out there, and there's Evangeline Gurwanski, and Irma was with her as well. And I asked them to come here today because part of what makes the city great is the giving. The giving, I think, is the heart and soul of what goes on here in the city. And Evangeline and Irma, and there's others, have signed up for this volunteer task force to where they actually go through some training, and then they assist the police department as volunteers. They also do code enforcement. They do a series of things. So I asked them to wear their uniform, because when I walked at that meeting at City Hall the other day, I usually see them dressed normally. This time they had like this badge and all this stuff, and I was saying, boy, is there something I don't know? And I didn't know. But they're not police officers, but they're volunteers. Can you please stand up and show off your uniforms, please, and the good work that you do? See, they look very official, and they are. And they are. And look, as I look around the city and I look at all the different projects, there's a ton of projects, literally a ton of projects. I mean, the city staff gave me so many pages. It's like, Dave says he's got a tough job. Well, I think I've got a tougher job trying to take all this stuff and put it, into a single message you can deliver in a reasonable period of time. But let me just rattle off some of the things that are going on. Over where the Elks used to be on First Street, there's now a beautiful project that the Wormers group is putting together. And they've gone out of their way to hire an architect that is going to make it compatible with the zoo. Because remember, right across where the old Saddleback used to be, we have the Santa Ana Zoo. And so integrating those two projects so that they're compatible becomes important. Also trying to integrate some retail, because every time we do residential, wherever we can put retail, that's a good thing, because retail helps us generate money to balance the budget, to keep the city moving forward. So we're looking at doing some retail there as well. Over on the North Main Street, the Time and Temperature building, I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's an older building, kind of like across, right next to Main Place. That's not only going to be renovated and upgraded, but it's also going to have a residential component around it. And our friends at Prez, I think, are doing a great job. They're working with staff. It's not always easy. You have easements and ingress and egress and all these realities of life. But, we have to keep dreaming. We have to keep believing. And as we do that, we keep accomplishing. And talking about accomplishing, we recently passed our budget, $516 million city budget. It was balanced. We have a reserve, about $40 million or so. We have a AA credit rating. So in many ways, the city is solid. The city is good, financially, and I think that's a very important thing. But I got to tell you, times are tough. We've got the retirement issues to deal with. I don't know of any city in the state of California that right now can sit back and say, we have a good handle on the future, because we have to keep working as we negotiate with our labor unions and all. We have to have always one eye, in the mirror. And I want to take a moment to talk about public safety. We've worked very hard to become a very safe city. And as we have done that, sometimes you go forward, sometimes you slip a little bit. I want to say that under the new leadership of our new chief, David Valentin, I believe we're just doing wonderfully ever since he took over. A lot of things are turning around in a better direction, and that's important for us. Also, our relationship with OCFA, Chief Bowman, and how well we're working. It's difficult to transition and to go from one system to another, but here in Santa Ana, it's worked out very well, and we're thankful for that. I also want to talk, I'm covering a lot of ground here. I also want to talk to you a little bit about sustainability. Councilmember Solario the other day said, when are we going to be 100% renewable energy here in the city? What's a reasonable goal? Well, I'll tell you, I chaired the U.S. Conference of Mayors Energy Committee for 10 years. I know cities across America and what they're doing, and it's not easy to do that. But you can take steps. Companies like Clean Energy that are bringing in renewable natural gas, green diesel, all electric cars and how things are changing. We can get there from here. And what I want to do is I want to bring to the City Council a resolution that says that we'll set a goal for 2035. I think it's doable. There's some cities actually that are almost there today. They have some advantages we don't have, some have very large dams and hydro. We don't have a lot of hydro. We're not going to get any anytime soon. So there's certain things we don't have, but there's other things we do have, such as the ability to use technology, to try to, work with companies and our own, city and neighboring cities and organizations to get there and to become, renewable by 2035. And, it could be sooner than that, but I think we can do that. Boy, my introduction is late, but I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to keep going. The streetcar. I want to talk about the OC streetcar because, Daryl is here and Tim and so many of the board members. and folks that have helped over the years, like Janet, when you were on the board of OCTA, you were a big supporter. And I think all of you, past and present and future, some of you, like my good friend the mayor from Huntington Beach, you're a part of the future. All this is catching momentum, and the reason I mention that is that it's going to be a big deal. It's about a $300 million project. It's going to go across the city. At this point, from east to west, at this point, I believe it's beyond the point of no return. I keep asking Daryl, when can we relax? When can we stop pushing? Because I'm always trying to, find the fast forward button. And he says, no, Miguel, things take longer than you want them to take. But look, you need for things to take less than staff tells you. And so I think it's good to have a little bit of a natural rub, if you will. But at this point, I think the one in the first leg, I think has real momentum, and we're trying to look into the future. And I want to thank folks like Henry Walker, because as president of Farmers and Merchants Bank, you'd think, okay, he does one thing, but no, Henry's the kind of guy that cares about Southern California. He cares about the community. And Henry, some of the meetings that you've helped set up with the Diocese of Orange, and trying to look at the cathedral over in Garden Grove, where potentially we could someday connect to that cathedral, and what that would mean with the outlets in Orange and the UCI Medical Center and the cathedral and all along Chapman. Maybe it's a Pollyannish dream, but I think it's a dream that maybe can be realized, and folks like yourself are making that, that difference. As I look at, just pushing and being persistent and trying to make things happen, I can never forget what happened with the, what is today the Samueli Academy, because that took a long time. It took, I don't know how many years, Susan and Sandy, it took a long time. And sometimes you have to be persistent beyond reason. You can't stop just because you run into a bunch of no's. And I remember getting in the car and driving around with, these two amazing ladies, and we couldn't find anything. We just couldn't find anything in the city. And I remember one time Susan called and saying, well, Miguel, we're going to go to Chino. I said, Chino? And she said, well, we can't, nobody wants us in Orange County. Really, nobody wants us. Well, we kept going, kept looking. We found that site over on Fairview. And today, I invite any of you, please go out there and look at the beautiful dream that's been realized and all the kids that are being helped. And kids are being helped constantly all over the city. I mean, as I look at the, Santa Ana Unified, they service 53,000 students. But not only that, within the last 6 years, in an effort to improve graduation rates, they've actually increased them by 9%. We're now above the state average for the Unified. And there was a while where we were way behind the state average. We're now above that. But I want to thank the Unified because they're so open and friendly, and I don't know some of the board members that are here from Santa Unified, but I know some of the staff is here, and I'll tell you they have an open policy with us, and they've supported different charter schools, and that's enabled folks like the charter school from USC, and I know some of the folks are here. The only place outside of Los Angeles County right now that USC has allowed for there to be a charter school has been in Santa Ana. And the Hurwitzes and the whole board and what you guys are doing is amazing, because we already have a school here that's affiliated with USC through the USC Charter School. And that's good news for us and a very positive thing. Also, folks like Doug Hodge that, went out on his own with his wife, did a really crazy thing. They just went out and bought a building. They just bought a building and said, we're going to put a school in there. Not only that, they came to me and they said, Miguel, we need to do it like in 6 months or something like that. I mean, just a really, really tight timeline, because you've got seismic issues, because when you're going to go to an educational code, it's a different world. And we did it. You know, we worked together, and it came together, and it happened, and now there's the Nova Academy, which, by the way, Daryl, we have to work with them because the way we're doing our staging for the streetcar, it's right in their front door, and they can't figure out how the students are going to get in and out, and that would not be a good thing. So we'll figure it out. We'll figure out how to get the students to come in and out. I also want to talk about Santa Ana College because they were founded in 1915, and board members like Claudia Alvarez and Jose Solari, who was on there previously, you know, they're doing a great job. You know, that institution now has something like 43,000 students. That's a lot of students. And those are the accredited ones. There's others that are not accredited, and that's another 15,000. So, you know, that's making a huge difference in our community, and it's being done, you know, because you know, they're just doing a good job. They're working closely with us. And by the way, they're now a gateway either to UCI or to Cal State Fullerton. They have relationships and contracts and agreements with them that push them in that direction. And again, we're doing well with that. You know, the homeless is a tough issue, and I want to thank folks like, you know, Todd Spitzer over at the county that are working with us, because we have to handle this regionally. And I'm sad my friend had to leave early, Alan Bernstein, because he's put together a group of mayors, and we're trying to figure out what can we do together. And I'll tell you, we're all doing something. And folks like Mercy House and the efforts that, you know, that they're doing is making a difference. Here in Santa Ana, you can't tell, but we literally have taken hundreds of people off the streets. We still have more, and we've put them either in shelters or using block grant monies. We've taken those monies and put them into you know, apartments and places where they have some permanency in their life. And that's the biggest problem with homeless, according to Larry Haynes, who's an expert in that, and that is just trying to break the cycle and take the first step. And look, and in many cases, it's really, really difficult because, you know, sometimes there's mental illness, sometimes there's drug addiction, sometimes there's things that, you know, it's not just a matter of having an intervention and a long speech. It really takes a program, it really takes a village, it really takes, you know, people, you know, working together and working together very, very closely. I also want to mention the fact that as we work together, there's things sometimes you don't see. Like, for example, you know, with Anaheim, there's this Anaheim Resort vehicle. Guess what one of the destinations is on a regular basis? Right here all over Santa Ana. They come into the Artist Village, they come in a main place, they you know, tourism is coming together, and together we can do so much. And I am going to take a moment. Nick. He's going to do a brief introduction, and then I'm going to continue. It is my honor to have Dr. Henry Nicholas here. Thank you, Nick.
This is the first time I've had someone introduce me to introduce me. So that was a great introduction.
Thank you.
And I want to introduce you to everyone else, but you know, was it supposed to be a surprise who you were? I don't know. But let's see. I wanted to talk about. Well, actually, I wanted to talk about the fact that you're a Democrat. All right. So yeah, you can't. Yeah, if you get what you ask for. If you want me to introduce you, I'm just gonna do it my way. Yeah. So so I'm a Republican. So I believe in Republican values. Yes, absolutely. And you know, it's what's weird is you know, my favorite politician would be this guy, and I generally don't like politicians, and I look past the fact that he's a Democrat. But he would be, I think it's that we have a common interest. I mean, well, we're both engineers, and we both love Santa Ana. We love the community. And we love kids. We get spoken like a true politician. You can never go wrong with that. Baby kissing is, good job. So, but I think that he's unique in that. Well, most politicians aren't engineers, sadly, but you're one of the few politicians. Actually, I think the only politician that has never asked me for money for your campaign. Only for Santa Ana. Correct. And which God, I would say that probably the dollars that I have given to the city. 14 million. 14. Well, yeah, if you count NAC, yeah. It's I would say it has the highest ratio, as best I could tell. It's nice when you donate something, you see the money goes directly to the cause. This is like, as best I could tell, probably 110%. So he takes city employees, who are force multipliers for what I assign, and it goes directly to help the citizens. And so that is truly unique, and you guys are, should consider yourself blessed to have someone that, despite being a Democrat, has those leanings. So, I should really, speak about NAC, Nicholas Academic Center, which, he has been a longtime supporter of the Nicholas Academic Center. And for those of you who may not be aware, we've, have invested very heavily in, recognizing the demographic here in Santa Ana. There are a large number of really bright, high potential students that are facing big cultural barriers and big economic barriers. They have no money. The parents may not even be citizens. And that notwithstanding, they have the willingness to work, and they're highly intelligent. And so we had this theory, or I had this theory, that if we try to take away those barriers, they're going to, they're going to outperform, the lazy, upper class white kids. Which, so, I believe in competition. So, no, but we've actually done, and in fact, that's what has happened. We have we've invested in getting these kids who have never gone, actually, none of their family members, not even their remote relative, any have gone to college. So they have no role models whatsoever. And that, and we managed, which is, actually significant, to get them into not just colleges, but, great institutions like UCLA, secondary institutions like USC, but also, but, well, also Georgetown, Harvard. Harvard, I hear, is, that's like UCLA of the East, right? And West Point, Air Force Academy, Purdue, these are the list of the top tier universities. And so, turns out there are some preferences. So getting them in was easier than perhaps if they were upper class white kids, okay? As it should be, I think. But, once you're in, there's no preferences as far as the grades you get. There's no preferences as far as, graduating. And we have outperformed the national average consistently every single year. I mean, I wish the statistics here, we have a retention rate now of over 85%, and the national average for blended for everyone is like 65, and our graduation rate is at the top. And so, I'm very pleased that, and most of them, actually the majority are going on to postgraduate. They, they're getting graduate degrees. And there's actually kind of I'd say there's definitely a slant towards engineering majors. Yes, but I have done nothing to push them in that direction. but you know, I think that's a good thing. You know, so anyway, this program since day one. I mean, we now have over 1,000 NAC associates, counting the graduates and advocates that have, you know, are part of this program. And so, you know, back when we had our first class, 25, I mean, Miguel was there. He's been a supporter of this since day one, and as has the school district. But I mean, I think very much so because of Miguel's forceful, you know, promotion of our program. And so this would have been impossible, the results we achieved, without Miguel's efforts. And I mean, efforts not just, you know, financial whatnot, but his own personal time. And every single graduation he has been there, every single event. We have like a Thanksgiving, you know, we go and we actually provide Thanksgiving for all the extended families, everyone that's in the program, and he's there at that. And so I really think that, you know, I wish you'd become a Republican, but yeah, but you guys are so lucky to have him as your mayor. So,
Thank you, Nick. Just a couple of things, and then we're going to go into the, you know, with the family. So if the family can start coming up, I'm going to wrap up. Pa, si puedes venir, and I saw my son Miguelito around here somewhere. If we can start coming up. And Nick, hang around. You're going to like this. I think there's some seats over here on the right, Nick. If you like, there's a couple seats over here. Just real quick, we have a group of nonprofits. I want them to, in a moment, stand up. Goodwill Industries, Mercy House, the Nicholas Academic Center, Orange County, you know, Boys and Girl Scouts, the, you know, Samuelia Academy, OC United Way, Nova Academy, Santa Ana Boys and Girls Club, you know, the USC Charter School, Sisters of St. Joseph, the Salvation Army. You know, I think there's a few others, but I don't know if they're present or not. But I want just to take a moment to acknowledge all of them, because that's the heart and soul of the city. It's all these people that give, that care, that volunteer, that do things not because they have to or anybody's paying them to do it, but that do it because they love it. They do it. Is Enrique here? All right, Miguel, if you can call Enrique and Miguelito. Where's Miguelito? He stepped outside. All right, well, we got to get him in here. ¿Le puedes ir a Miguelito? Oh, they're getting him. All right, so I can't do what I'm going to do solo. It's good to have backup, because then you can kind of hide a little bit. You know, if you miss a chord or two, you won't know. But so anyways, could all those nonprofits that are present here today please stand up? I want to take a moment to acknowledge you. Please. And then I guess we're just going to go ahead and start, but it's going to be awkward without our... Yeah, but the accordion player. We'll do it without an accordion player. Well, that's my son coming, but he's not the accordion player. He's the guitarist, but we'll just do it ourselves, Miguel. We'll just do it. It's important to improvise. You know, sometimes you have to, you know, call audibles. One final thing, and that is that I want to also acknowledge Arnell Development and Kevin Hauber and all the good work that you all are doing. I know we're looking at a project right now over by the freeway there, and I just hope that as we do that, I know there's a desire for residential, that may we bring in a hotel component or something like that. Just, again, thinking about revenue to the city. So with that, go ahead.
We're going to change up the order of songs because the accordion player is on his way. He thought we meant PM when we meant AM. All
right, well, let me tell a 2-second story about AM and PM. Janet, I was invited by the Vietnamese community to a Tet festival. And they said, could you be there at 1? And I said, sure, 1 o'clock is fine. But it turns out that when the staff says to me, Miguel, you know you already agreed to go, but it's at 1 a.m. It's a New Year's festival, not 1 p.m. And so that's what happened to our accordion player here today. But to me, I went out there, and in the middle of the night, this story gets worse because I'm also thinking, you know, I love the Vietnamese community. It was an election year. In an election year, you're always thinking votes. I'm thinking like, you know, at least 10,000 votes, maybe more. So I'm out there in the middle of the night at this event, and they make me go up on stage, and I'm throwing oranges out into the crowd because it's part of what you do. But the people in the front, their faces are getting red because they're up too close, and I'm thinking, oh man, I'm going to like kill somebody. So let's throw them fast and get, and then you know, you gong and you bow and you do all the right stuff. But then the head priest, you know, he's got like long robes. He goes like this. He says, follow me. So I start to follow him. I said, well, now what? Well, we go to the center of this plaza, and there's a big, huge pole, and it's got a bunch of illegal fireworks. And meanwhile, out of the corner of my eye, and realize this is now like 2 in the morning by now, corner of my eye, I see a fire captain, and I know what they're doing. They're doing an inspection for the boots and things at 2 a.m. And so I look at him, he looks at me, and I look at the poll, and I'm thinking 10,000 votes, what do I do? and so you know, he just shrugs his shoulders. He goes like, I don't know. So I figure, well, if he doesn't know, but then it gets worse. Because then the priest, you know, he's got these robes, and he goes like this, and somehow he manages to get a lighter. And he's passing me the lighter. So he passes me the lighter. I look at him, I look at the captain, and I look at all the votes, and I light the fuse. All right, Miguel. So let's go ahead.
Let's look. All right, so we were going to save this one for the end, but we're going to do it at the beginning. And it's a song that David and I wrote together. And it's called I'm Done With This. You know I'm done with this. You know I'm done with living this way. You know it's obvious. All of our choices turn life into chains. What will you do? What will you say? Can you free your mind when you're trapped by your ways? I wanna love all the things I do, the way that the sea licks the sand, but it's hard to be free when the things you dream live beyond your command. You know as you think. It's a long way down. Breathe life, see life, let life be life.
Good morning.
By the way,
Este trabaja, Mickey.
Check.
just wanted to mention that David Valentin, who I think is doing a great job, was mentored by Paul Walters. And Paul, I just wanted to thank you because 40 years in this city, you've done a lot, and your spirit and your soul is still here. Thank you.
Did you guys like that? A thumbs up. My dad came to me, he's like, I want you to do the song about being done with this. I'm like, wouldn't that be kind of ironic? Because like you're still mayor, you know. But I think one can feel a sense of completion without being complete, right? One can feel accomplished while also turning away. I don't No, I'm just messing around. We're gonna sing a song in Spanish. My grandfather here, who is going to be 92 in September. And he wants to renew his motorcycle license.
Antes de cantar,
Before singing,
les voy a decir
I want to tell you, corto.
no tan corto. Lo que hago yo para ser feliz.
What I do to be happy.
Primero en la mañana le doy gracias a Dios por el día que me da.
I thank God for the day that He gives me.
Después le digo que mi familia y mis amigos
Later, I tell Him that my family and my friends
tengan trabajo
have work
y vayan por el buen camino.
and have a good path.
Hay a veces que me preocupo por el calentamiento global
Sometimes I worry about climate change.
y una vez que estaba platicando con una
And
señorita,
one time I was speaking with a young lady.
la señorita me dijo, ¿para
She
qué se
said, "Why are you
preocupa
worried?
si ya va de salida?
You're on your way out." I think we should all worry.
Otra cosa que le pido es que
Something else I ask,
me cuide de no hacer cosas malas.
that God keep me in a good path.
Con eso me siento muy contento
With that, I feel happy,
y siempre estoy feliz.
and I'm always happy. Vamos a cantar. Now, this song is Que lejos estoy. It basically says how far away I am from the place where I was born. And it's a traditional Mexican folk song. Ustedes empiecen, yo lo sigo.
Qué lejos estoy del suelo donde he nacido. Intensa nostalgia invade mi pensamiento. Y al verme tan solo y triste, cual hoja al viento, quisiera llorar, quisiera morir de sentimiento. Oh tierra del sol, suspiro por verte. Ahora que lejos yo vivo sin luz, sin amor. Y al verme tan solo y triste, cual hoja al viento, quisiera llorar, quisiera morir de sentimiento. Oh tierra del sol, suspiro por verte. Ahora que lejos yo vivo sin luz, sin amor. Y al verme tan solo y triste, cual hoja al viento, quisiera llorar, quisiera morir de sentimiento.
Yo quiero Edelweiss, ¿ya está bien? Okay, this is going to be our final song. It's going to be Edelweiss.
So please sing
And
along.
I
yeah.
don't know if they can put it up on the screen because I've had some folks tell me, what is Edelweiss? Where's that song? And maybe that dates me. But if we can put the songs up, the lyrics for Edelweiss, and if you can, sing along and just sing loud. Know the person next to you is...
Well, raise your hand if you've seen The Sound of Music. Yeah? Oh, wow.
See?
Yeah. So, at the end of the film, Captain Von Trapp is trying to escape the Nazis. And so he's in front of all the Nazis and he sings a song. You're not the Nazis, don't worry.
And we're not escaping
Yeah,
anything.
we're not. Yeah, but it's a really beautiful
But it's
song.
a nice
It's-
song about love and
it's
country.
about about love and country and love of nature and yeah.
Okay, empiecen. Nada más ese señor, la gente.
Edelweiss, every morning you greet me, small and white, clean and bright, you look happy to meet me. Blossom of snow, may you bloom and grow, bloom and grow forever. Edelweiss, Edelweiss, bless my homeland forever. Blossom of snow, may you bloom and grow, bloom and grow forever. Edelweiss, Edelweiss, bless my homeland forever.
Thank you for coming. And may God bless Santa Ana, and may God bless every single one of you. Thank you very much.
vas a olvidar. Yo he tenido tanto temor. ¿Para qué vas a olvidar?